Hola familia estelar, you do not land here by chance, you have indeed entered into a sacred world line collision. This has entered into your reality, it's materialized experience during Sagittarius season. Today, the sun enters into the sign of Sagittarius, and we are at Sacsayhuamán, which is a site all about the head and heart coherence, which is a beautiful depiction of the energies that are making an announcement in our universe, and the fact that you're an extension of the earth as well, and a multi-dimensional being. This is a very specific dimension, plane of consciousness, and archetypes that occupy these realms that are going to be making an appearance. So it's a very specific theme all about faith, freedom, and also rising into your truth. When the sun enters the sign of Sagittarius, something in the human spirit begins to expand, and that's something that you're going to be feeling immensely right now, because Sagittarius's ruler is Jupiter. Jupiter expands whatever it touches, and this is the planet of faith. It's the planet of having faith in yourself, your path, or this world, or even the landscape of what is to come, even when the horizon seems dark or uncertain. This is a sign that really resembles this season being all about an inner ignition that's being turned on right now for you, as well as a higher vision and sacred freedom that you're aligning with. So the word Sacsayhuamán actually means to fill your head with knowledge, but also your heart with the truth in this season. And it's really about allowing the spirit to lead the flesh. It's not a fortress. This is a conscious technology, really, this site. We have interlocking stones that mirror the folds of the human brain, and its curves follow the energies of the heart field. And there's something around doing what it is that you love, coming back into alignment with that head and heart coherence actually magnetizes your electromagnetic field. So I'm seeing that grow right now, where you're sitting or standing in a place, but your field is filling the space around you. The intuition is sharpening, and you're entering into a natural coherence during the season. And in this alignment, you begin to remember that illumination doesn't come from escaping life, but actually it comes from living in alignment with your truth, right? Sagittarius is all about things being preordained, being aligned with, something that feels like it was made for you, and you were made for it, and you were seeded onto this planet for a reason. And this is a season of you really coming back into alignment with that reason, coming back into alignment with your why. Sagittarius season asks for this exactly. It's where your mind and heart march in the same direction, and there is no confusion, there's no contradiction, right? There's no incongruency behind the things that you know that you should do and the things that you're doing. There's a complete congruency in the way that you align yourself in the physical with your non-physical essence, because again, we're talking about the centaur archetype, which is a being that's half otherworldly, right? Not of this world, but also half of this world. So this is a time where you're anchoring in higher levels of awareness, information, and knowledge, and you're actually being able to display that or demonstrate that or act upon that information upon your third dimensional journey. So we have two messages for today. The first one is temperance, because this is the Sagittarius archetype, and in this multi-dimensional deck, it also talks about the maze. Okay, so this is the maze of life in which you're navigating right now. We're going to go ahead and read this depiction for you, but the temperance card is all about moderation, right? Moderating these next few steps. It's somebody dipping their toes into a new reality, and I feel like that's exactly what you're being invited to do during this time. So anyway, the maze says compromise and adjust expectations. It's about being in a labyrinth, right? And I'm seeing the maze as being timelines in this experience, so you're really selectively choosing your timeline. Sagittarius is all about future vision and what is upon the horizon, so there's a strong essence or element around anchoring the future into the present moment, right? Through the present action that you're actually taking. So there are great lives that you're meant to live that are buried within the maze, but you'll have to eventually walk towards one that's calling your name. And right now, you're focusing on not what it is that you're moving away from, but instead what it is that's calling you. It's almost like you're answering a greater calling right now. So as you walk by another spiral in the maze, you hear a sound calling you towards the center. It doesn't feel perfect, but you've been growing tired of looking. So it's almost like you don't have to be great to get started at something, but you do have to get started in order to become great. So the maze is also interesting because it is infinite timelines, and then you also have infinite paths with the sun. And again, we're talking about the sun in Sagittarius. So we're going to go ahead and read the sun card as well. The sun is all about location. And really, the biggest analogy I can bring is traveling with the mind, right? A great traveler is the one that knows how to travel with the mind, and that's what the ninth house, which is Sagittarius's house, teaches you. It's about expanding your mind, right? Filling your mind with knowledge, whether this is you studying something, whether it's you going the distance, but it's about consciousness expanding into new dimensions where it can no longer return back to its old form. Okay, so infinite life paths, otherwise known as the sun. Joy, success, and good chances. Explosions of bright light surround you, and you get caught up in swells of color and emotion, flooding your being. So again, this is having a human experience, which means that you're here to feel the full range of human emotion, but also allow your higher mind to guide you through this existence. Because you may feel the lower mind come to the surface, right? Maybe this is about fear of making friends with the unknown, but Sagittarius loves that because they're an adventurer, they're an explorer. They have this unquenchable thirst for knowledge, right? To find out what awaits them on the other side of what it is they have once done before, right? So this feels like, it's almost like everything that you've ever wanted is on the other side of your fear, right? The barriers in which we create for ourselves, the physical laws that we allow to govern our internal universe. Because life is happening through you, right? It's not happening to you, it's not happening for you, and life is not even coming at you, it's coming from you. And if you're the universe experiencing itself as human, right? Having a human experience. So if there's certain physical laws that you allow to disrupt the way that you move or navigate through this existence, then that's something that you're being invited to look deeper into as well. So it's now that you've realized your recent tumultuous journey was only part of becoming a new being. Infinite Pathways is an extremely positive card to pull in a reading. It speaks to the synchronicity with yourself and your willingness to change what asks to be changed. So things will only change if you welcome change, and that leads to growth, it leads to evolution, right? It leads to a new reality collapsing around you because your action is the very thing that's collapsing this concept that you have, this idea, this creative spark through space and time. And if you also think about Sagittarian kind of cards, well, you have the Nine of Wands, which is about being so close to the finish line. You also have the Eight of Wands, right? Which is also a Sagittarius card. And that one basically depicts forward momentum. Your intention is kinetic energy, and when you support that kinetic energy with action, right, maybe a concept or creative spark that you have, and your actions support that in the physical realm, that actually creates this velocity, right? It almost creates a velocity kinetic generator where things begin to build because you're creating this momentum, you're creating this new wave, and this is a new wave of energy experiences, almost like divine inspiration as well. That's going to propel you towards your dreams, ambitions, and goals at a very highly energetic rate, or more so, you're drawing them in towards you, right? This is where you're anchoring the future into the present moment. You have the ability to do that. So it speaks to the synchronicity within yourself, and again, the willingness to change what asks to be changed. Take joy in this card. It's pulsing with magic, alive in all good changes. All it asks of you is to radiate positive energy and bring an abundance of goodness, unlocking pathways only thought to exist in dreams. So again, this is where you anchor a dream into reality. So when we talk about Sagittarius or the Temperance card, this is about its own archetype that's a living symbol of the head and heart coherence. And you can even see here, there is almost this new wave that's emerging from the ground. So something within you is almost coming outwardly. So it's about alignment, freedom, faith, balanced thought and feeling, and the sacred middle path. It's a blending of intuition and also clarity that allows a new creation to emerge from you because you're completely coherent in the things that you want to do, right? Coherence is almost you being super aligned. It's about being one with the non-physical essence. Is about remembering yourself as an infinite being. So this is the angel in most decks that is pouring between two cups, and even in this light, right, with Sacsayhuamán, it channels the energy of the stone chambers that are really surrounding us right now. You can see all around here. Let me show you. It's the two hemispheres, the one consciousness, the two worlds, but also the one truth that you have. Temperance says that once your heart becomes coherent, your mind actually becomes the compass. And that's exactly what you're being invited to remember within yourself. That's the essence of this season, of the center. It's where your truth actually becomes clearer. It's when your mind and your heart finally agree on the next action to take. So it does feel like there is a prophecy that's being fulfilled here for you, if you will. The first message we have is super beautiful. So it's Akashic Stargate, which is the Akashic records. This talks about being at a crossroads right now in your life and being aligned with your purpose and knowing that there is no wrong path. Now, the Akashic Stargates is basically a wormhole symbol. And this talks about Einstein's theory of collapsing time. And when you collapse the concept of time, all that remains is your conscious awareness. The Akashic Stargate is also the Akashic record. So it's the interconnected database that stores the living memory of all organisms, all possible versions of yourself within this multiverse, right? The version of yourself that did that thing, the version of yourself that chose not to, but you get to lift the human condition in this season, look at your life through the lens of the soul, see all the timelines that are readily available for you to experience, and choose what it is that you want to witness the becoming in a linear fashion of what is already available to you on a quantum level. Okay, so that's what you're being called to do. And it really does remind me of again, sending your consciousness beyond the anatomical body. And that's how you have a fourth or fifth dimensional experience, because you're no longer thinking from a linear lens. You're no longer seeing life through the lens of the third dimensional matrix lens. Instead, you're raising the way that you see this existence into higher frameworks, right? So it's allowing you to go out into the quantum field, go out into the future, right? Pick up on infinite possibilities or infinite realities, and then anchor back that information into the present moment and choose what it is that you want to align yourself with. So I'm going to go ahead and read this card for you. It talks about there's a stargate, and it's less about traveling on the physical three-dimensional level, but more about making progress on the spiritual, right? And this is a great traveler, is the one that knows how to travel with the mind. Your mind, thought, and time are the same. You can travel at the speed of thought, right? You can travel into the past, you can travel into the future, you can live in that frame vibrationally. Your quantum technology is quite literally your third eye, right? Your mind, and then also your heart space, where you can feel how it would be to step into that reality before your arrival in the physical. And that's what you're being invited to do. And this is also, again, it's also known as a time matrix or a stargate. So this is where your galactic brothers and sisters open up this safe passage or corridor, beckoning you to come and safely learn more about what your life on Earth could be or could look like. So there's a beautiful alignment that's taking place, or an invitation which you're receiving. So it's almost like you're stepping into a different layer of this reality. But anyway, a feature of many spiritual traditions and ideas we have is that the stargate in our heart connects us with the central lattice of consciousness. So again, it quite literally is this lattice, this interconnected, invisible blueprint in which you're existing in. And there are many different beings as you travel through these realms of consciousness that occupy these realms that are assisting you. It's the one unified field of consciousness dancing with itself in this beautiful act of creation. So an Akashic Stargate transports us to a space where we're given the opportunity to make a decision to accelerate the realization of our life purpose. This is so on par with what Sagittarius is. Whenever the Akashic Stargate is presented to you, it's because you're at a critical point on your journey. You have the opportunity to move in a particular direction but you have to make a decision. This can feel overwhelming, and you may be waiting for someone or something to make that decision for you, but you aren't here to walk a path that was set for you. You're here to walk a path that you have chosen, right? So it's about becoming a sovereign creator. You're a chosen one because you're choosing yourself, right? The next phase of your journey cannot unfold unless you decide what way to go. Know that whatever direction you take, whatever direction you make, okay, you'll always be on the right path. And what I was seeing is it feels like everything's up in the air right now. It could feel like that in your life. But the thing is, it's up in the air, existing in thought forms, because the moment that you choose to take action towards it, it collapses through space and time. And because it's a very dense plane, the arrival in the physical is the last thing to unfold. So it's almost like you're gaining a glimpse into your destiny before it unfolds, right? You're receiving a preview of life's upcomings by tuning in to your eye of the soul. No matter, to see your future before it arrives, right? No matter how you get there, you'll always end up in a similar space. Also know that purpose isn't about doing your duty, it's about living joy and living life and experiencing joy. And that's what you're being called to do, right? As you 666, reflect, review, and revise your physical experience. That's what 666 is, right? It's about the matrix. It's about even Metatron's cube. So when you allow time for reflection, you allow yourself to see where inner shifts are needed. It's time for you to look at your beliefs and ask, is this serving me, or is it time for me to release this, reflect, refocus, and readjust? As I refocus on what serves my highest good, I feel myself shift into my highest timeline and my highest self. And then you have single eye of the needle, right? Singularity. This message, I love it because it talks about becoming so singularly focused at a task, on a task at hand, right? If you think about threading a needle, it requires you to kind of have tunnel vision, right? And it feels like that's what you're being called to do right now, to have tunnel vision as you thread this new needle. And this is something being sewn into the fabric of your existence. That's what it feels like is happening. And it talks about removing every other superfluous distraction. So really about turning your focus and awareness back within, right? Calling all of your awareness that has been fragmented or scattered across timelines that don't serve you, and instead focusing on thoughts and emotions, right? Ways of reflecting and reviewing your life on earth that are super conducive, right? And then you have Anomaly, one of my favorite cards in the Cosmos Oracle deck. This card, Anomaly, talks about you're about to demonstrate the impossible. It's where your reality is something that you'll experience differently based upon our own perception. And Anomaly talks about where others see the word impossible, you see I'm possible. And there is a shift of perspective that's needed that's going to cause a paradigm shift. Anomaly also talks about basically something that is very different from what has been previously experienced, not just for you, but also what other people have seen happen for you in the past, and that point of reference completely changing, because it seems like what it is that you're changing, right? This nucleus of a family that you had attracted based upon maybe limitations or belief systems, right? That you had adopted, growing up in this system. You're no longer reinforcing the same expectations. So those networks are slowly breaking down, right? It's almost like you're creating these new synapses within the brain. There are new things that you're reinforcing until it creates a new synapse and a new neurological pathway that's then energetically projected outwardly into this reality. So I'm seeing this as new pathways and timelines and experiences and opportunities be aligned with you because you've come into this new network of experiences, right? It's like you've opened up this new ecosystem of experiences filled with people and opportunities and, just beautiful experiences for you to be able to step into. And it's because you've raised to a higher plane of consciousness within yourself. So again, the system is very intelligent. It's very intelligently self-organized. So if you're thinking, thoughts that are on a lower octave or slower oscillation, then you'll experience the illusion of stagnancy. This reality is as fluid or as stagnant as we are. I was also seeing it as your soul being given the opportunity to collect more XP along this lifetime, right? And I'm seeing that continue to be something that's collecting and it's leading to a ranking, because we have certain archetypal ranks as we move through planes of consciousness. But when you remember that this is a hologram and nothing is real except for your frequency, and you're all consciousness just playing dress up, you're waking up inside of this dream again, but you're also aware that it's an illusion. However, you're still committed to this storyline. That's what it feels like is happening. It's where you commit to a new storyline. It really is stepping into that main character era. That's what it feels like. That was it. I was going to say that. So with Wormhole, again, it's like there is this galactic portal that's being opened for you, a portal of discovery to see what your life on Earth could be. And as you begin to step into that and align with it, what I was seeing was, from the outside perspective, it seems like, again, there's an anomaly happening in your life. It seems like you have teleported, or it seems like from an outside perspective, you have just had something come into your experience that's happened out of the blue. However, when you're in this time dilation bubble, you experience time very, very differently. It is kind of like chronostasis. If you guys watch the reading of The Lady in the Red Dress in the Matrix, that's a theme that's being planted in your life, where you are a planted anomaly in this system. And she's not real, but she's a program that's, meant to kind of pull attention and also test awareness. And it's a state of chronostasis. So she covers the gap in perception, where people like double look and they're like, huh? What has happened? But it's because you're doing things you haven't done before. You're literally embodying and grounding another version of yourself, a parallel version of yourself. That's what you're doing right now. You are the glitch in the matrix, and it's because you're reprogramming yourself, right? You're reprogramming your own neurological pathways. So yeah, it is the lady in the dress, right? The lady in the red dress, where there is a beautiful illusion that buys your mind time while truth quietly steps towards you. And in some ways, you're demonstrating that, or you're being called to do that in this season. In this site as well, there is a serpent of stone, okay, like a serpent that was originally made from stone, which is 𝓬𝓭𝓪, it's the underworld, and I always see that as 𝓬𝓭𝓪 and 𝓬𝓭𝓪 coming together in the way where, again, it's like the Kundalini rising to 𝓻𝓭𝓪, the highest planes of consciousness. But how I was seeing it was, or what was it? It's the psyche, right? It's the interface of where ether meets matter. It's the interaction or internal conversation that happens between the soul and also this carbon-based life form, this alpha third dimensional vessel that allows you to experience life on earth through, right? The soul is experiencing growth through this vehicle that is made to navigate this terrestrial plane in which you're participating in. And even though much of the original stonework was destroyed, the essence still remains, and it once spiraled like a serpent, right? So it's circulating the energy through the land in the same way that the heart circulates blood through the body, and blood in the metaphysical realm represents life force and also vitality. You know, Sagittarius is the sign of the seeker. It's the one who cannot expand when their mind and heart are inside of a cage. You know, it's the one that can really not explore or live this life while restraining themselves in some way, right? In keeping themselves small. So that's the energy, even when the world does feel certain, with this Jupiterian optimistic kind of planetary essence that's being infused into this archetype. It teaches you that you're built for much more than survival. It teaches us that you were actually built for expansion in this experience. And because of that, this very specific centaur does ask us to rise to the occasion of ourself, rise to meet a new version of ourself, right? The highest possible expression, and to become the version of ourself that our soul has been aiming for us to be able to align with all along. You know, it's almost like, what have you been waiting for? This is what I find most interesting about these sites all over Peru, really, and you have them in most ancient civilizations. You have 𝓻𝓪𝓵, which is the oldest ancient style of architecture, and this was actually architecture that was carved into the bedrock itself. Here, particularly, you have 𝓬𝓻𝓪𝓵, which is the Inca style. So they would actually build these small walls that were put together mainly through stones and mud to kind of protect the 𝓻𝓪𝓵 style art. And then you have these megalithic walls here, which are actually known as 𝓪𝓻𝓵. And 𝓪𝓻𝓵 is the middle civilization. It's the second one. And these are huge structures, like huge stonework of usually interlocking stones. So it's not carved into a bedrock or carved into a very specific site or ley line, but it's almost carved around the 𝓻𝓪𝓵 style. So this is like it's this trinity, right? It's where the three planes of consciousness come together in that triad. And you can even see, if any of you are like really interested in this, you can see it here. I mean, it's just amazing. But yeah, they would often do that to protect these sites, and this wall was actually a lot taller. I believe when the Spaniards came and they kind of overthrew the civilization, they had knocked over, I think it was like at least 2 to 3 meters of the walls, because they thought it was built by demons. And yeah, so they used to be actually a lot taller than this. So you're gonna have to use your imagination for this part, but I literally feel like a neuron that's like moving through the brain circuitry. Okay, guys, that will be it. Thank you so much for joining me to Sacsayhuamán. This was a beautiful, beautiful sight, and it was such a privilege to be able to bring you guys along in my pocket. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd love to have you around. Personal reading details also down below. Also, check out Watersprit if you guys are looking for some high quality AA grade jewelry. We have 2 discount codes for that in the description box. And if you've made it up until this point, comment down below an emoji that you feel is representative of this site, of this. Okay, what do you feel like is the representative of Sagittarius season? Okay, and how do you feel like it is depicted through this ley line in which we've entered into? So yeah, with that being said, I'll speak to you very soon. Until next time, bye!